Gridiron Review with our AFC North offseason preview. Starting off with the Cleveland Browns, who do not have a first-round pick this year due to the Deshaun Watson trade. They are losing out on Jacoby Brissett, Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson, Ethan Pochik, and then some defensive pieces such as Taven Bryan, Chase Winovich, Jadeveon Clowney, Deion Jones, Anthony Walker, Greedy Williams, Ronnie Harrison, and more. It's also rumored possibly that they might be looking to move on from Nick Chubb, so who knows what their running back plan is. A couple of free agent targets. Jerick McKinnon could fill the Kareem Hunt role for a lot less money. Jacoby Myers could be the wide receiver 3 that they're looking for. And Draymond Jones is a flexible defensive lineman that can play a lot of different spots on the defensive front. Some draft targets, much like Kareem Hunt and Jerick McKinnon, Kenny McIntosh should be found on day 3 or late day 2, and he can be a very good pass catcher for the team. Josh Downs, again, another slot receiver in the mold of Jacoby Myers. We think he's similar to Hunter Renfrow or Jack Campbell in the second round. He might be a late first rounder, but if he slips a little bit, Cleveland should go up and get him. Some thoughts on their offseason. They have a pretty good roster. Provided Deshaun Watson, issues aside, gets more acclimated to the team, they should be in a pretty good spot to improve on the 7-10 record. Most of their offense is in place. An offensive lineman or two could be needed. On the defensive line, it seems like they're always struggling to find that pass rushing mate, Myles Garrett, so look for them to try and figure that out. They have a few linebackers. Their secondary is decent. They're in pretty good shape for a team that didn't make the playoffs and didn't win a wild card. Pittsburgh Steelers had a very up and down season. Kenny Pickett was okay. He kind of played how we expected. They don't have a ton of cap to maneuver with, and they have some pieces such as Wormley, Larry Ogunjobi, Devin Bush, and Terrell Edmonds, among other depth pieces that they're probably not going to be able to bring back. Targets, if they somehow ignore the cap, Taylor Lewan, they really need offensive line help. Will Hernandez, and then Sean Murphy-Bunting is a high athleticism corner who could help their dire need in secondary. They have pick 17, some draft prospects, Jalen Hyatt and Jordan Addison, both receivers that would complement Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. Peter Skoronski, a flexible offensive tackle / guard who can play where they need him, or Joey Porter Jr. if they want to go secondary. Keys to offseason success: continue building around Kenny Pickett while you figure out if he's the guy. At the very worst, you drop in someone that can help better win when the situation arises next offseason. Otherwise, find a good backup, add a third receiver, and the defensive line needs work as well as the secondary. That's kind of the priority. Offensive line, defensive line, secondary. The Baltimore Ravens are having one of the more interesting off seasons thus far, with Lamar Jackson getting the rare non-exclusive franchise tag. So far, no one has offered on him, which is a little weird, but assuming that they're able to get him back, it's unsure how that relationship is going to work out. If they do not get Lamar back, Tyler Huntley is also a free agent, so they have that to figure out. But they did hire one of our favorite coordinators, Todd Monken, out of Georgia. They are losing to free agency potentially Justice Hill, Kenyon Drake, Demarcus Robinson, Justin Houston, Jason Pierre-Paul, Marcus Peters, and Kyle Fuller. A couple of targets for them. Any receivers, like the Chiefs did last year, moneyball it, add a bunch of names. Allen Lazard is one. He's a bigger body target. And then on the defensive side, Zach Allen, someone that can play end or tackle, or Jamel Dean to play some corner for them. Some draft targets: if they can swing a trade, Anthony Richardson. Again, this is if Lamar Jackson does not return. If not, Kenny McIntosh, again in the middle rounds, could be a valuable piece for them. Or any running back. They always seem to be adding them. And J.K. Dobbins, it's unsure how he's recovering. At wide receiver in the first round, Jackson Smith-Njigba could be a dependable target to pair with Rashad Bateman's speed. And if Lamar is back, that's got to be the move. Keys to success: get Lamar back, because you're not going to do better no matter what happens. Add a bunch of receivers to the room. It's not enough to just go get one guy in the draft. Overpay a little bit in free agency, although I don't think you'd have to pay to get people to play with Lamar. And figure that out. The defense should be solid again, and this team should be really good if they can just spend on the receiver like they haven't in prior years. The Cincinnati Bengals find themselves top 5 in the league in cap space entering free agency. Now, yes, they're going to have to pay Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, but Burrow already said he would take a team-friendly deal. News reports suggest they're going to cut Joe Mixon, or it's likely. They are losing their tight end room, Hayden Hurst and Drew Sample, one of their starting linebackers, Jermaine Pratt, burnt toast Eli Apple, and then both of their starting safeties, Jesse Bates and Von Bell. Some free agent targets: this is the year to need a running back, so Miles Sanders would go really well in that room. A lower end tight end to replace Hurst could be Foster Moreau, or a corner to go with Cam Taylor-Britt could be James Bradbury. 3 prospect fits: we really love the idea of Sam Laporta in the mid rounds. He's a big receiving upside player, but if they want someone that can block as well, someone like Michael Mayer could be a security blanket and a decent blocker. Trenton Simpson could be a replacement for Jermaine Pratt if he's there. Christopher Smith, the safety out of Georgia, to replace one of their starters. Ideal offseason for them, run it back with as many as you can. If you lose Joe Mixon, it's probably not a big deal. You just replace him with a running back in free agency or a mid-round draft pick like a Devon Achane, like a Roshan Johnson. There's a lot of guys this year. Zach Charbonnet. And replace the tight end, although the tight ends have never been super featured in this offense, so it's not super vital. And then secure up the defense. And the offensive line got hurt late, so maybe you use some better depth to protect Joe Burrow in that case. Otherwise, the Bengals are looking really good with a lot of cap, and they should be set up to make another deep playoff run next year.